And we are live/recording on our third episode of the Bayou Dragons podcast. Like before, I'm Porter. Mitch is in the middle if you are watching the visual, and then Tanner's on the very right. So a little different scenery if you're watching the YouTube. I'm building a bar at the house, and it's halfway done. And I think this is where we're going to end up doing predominantly all of our podcasts, unless we're traveling. So,
heck yeah, man. I mean, this bar's coming along nicely, and definitely think it's a good place to do a podcast rather than just doing it inside. But it's all in the works, man. We're going to continue to keep getting better at everything we do. So this being one of them.
Yep. So yeah, I think our first topic of the day we were wanting to kind of discuss was we have so many people think that we're from Louisiana, and not dogging Louisiana at all, but we're definitely from Texas.
100%. Southeast Texas, proud. And a lot of people, I don't know if they think we're trying to be like Louisiana, but in no way are we trying to do that. We literally live, 30 to 45 minutes from the Louisiana border, and we do a lot of the same things as the guys down there. I mean, we cook a lot of crawfish, we duck hunt, we do a lot of trot lining, a lot of fishing and stuff, and, a lot of people think we are trying to be like Louisiana, but that's just not the case.
Yeah, I hate when people are like, oh, dude, there's no bayous in Texas. It's like, we live on the bayou.
There's literally, that's all we do is bayou. I mean, we are constantly on the bayou.
Bayou, marsh.
If we have nothing better to do, that's literally what we do. Just go screw off on the bayou. That's all we do.
I guess people just don't know that Texas has that because Texas is so freaking big, but it's because you have desert, tundra, basically mountains. Over here, we're in the marsh, bayou.
Yeah, I mean, we're literally 10 minutes from the closest boat ramp to the bayou. I mean,
like, what do we do in the summer on Sundays? Sandbar Sundays on the bayou.
Sandbar Sundays.
Well, I kind of like sandbar Saturdays because then
Either way.
But sandbar Sundays.
Sandbar, and it's not even a sandbar. I mean, it's mainly mud.
Yeah, it's mud bar.
Hurricanes have absolutely destroyed our sandbar, and it's basically mud. But, I mean, that's what we do.
I think it's the only sandbar that's actually, it's like, oh, man, it's good today. And you're in waist deep water. There's no dry land.
Yeah, half the time you're lucky if your boat even sticks. You got to put a damn anchor out. If you got power poles, that's about the way to go. But half the time, your boat just sits in open water while you're waist deep drinking beer.
It's about that time, though. I mean, a lot of people are doing the sandbar Sundays right now.
Oh, I've been multiple, 3-4 times by now.
Well, not me, but I was getting videos yesterday of me jumping out of the tree and all nude.
Yeah.
A year to date from yesterday, so.
That was a year ago?
That was a year ago.
Wow.
Yeah, we're old. But, so our topic was, we are from Texas. We're proud to be Texas, and if anyone's never been to Texas, some of, our places that we recommend to go to, one of the number one places for me is going to Fredericksburg, Texas, which if you're not from there, it's it's our Napa Valley compared to California. It's probably the second biggest wine spot in the United States, I would say.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not a geologist.
It's a badass place to go. I like it.
I mean, there's 300 wineries within 100 square miles. So
I've been one time, and I kind of screwed up. I went during COVID because I actually had some time off, and of course I get up there and there's 3 wineries open.
Everything closed.
Yeah, the week of the time I went, so I didn't really get to do anything or experience anything. But it was fun.
What a bullshit time the COVID era was. I mean, what a bullshit
and all of a sudden,
time.
COVID don't exist anymore, right?
Well, no.
Who the hell's heard of COVID in the last 3 months?
Russia helped us with that one.
Russia, Ukraine. Yeah, good job.
Yeah, y'all stopped COVID.
I think it was all a hoax, in my opinion. You can disagree with me. It was all a big hoax. But
on how bad it was.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not disagreeing that COVID was a thing. Yes, but did they blow it up? Did they, blow it out of the water? Absolutely. I mean, I think the common cold. I had COVID. I personally had COVID. Well, no, it wasn't that bad. It was like a common cold, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Me and you had it at the same time.
We did.
I just hate that everything shut down. That was
Yeah, that was the worst part.
And all the mask. God dang, the mask shit. Jesus Christ.
There are still people.
Oh, I know. They still
regularly wear masks. Like you will not. There's people I work with that just you will not see them without a mask on.
Hey, whatever. That's your call, boy.
Yeah,
Dude, I was
hammer down, have fun.
I was at the gym a while back in the steam room, and there was a guy wearing a mask inside of the steam room.
Dude, that would suck.
I could barely breathe in there, with no mask. Yeah. But that dude's dedicated, like hardcore. Like he's not getting COVID.
First
Corona.
off, don't go in a steam room if you're worried about catching a disease.
Exactly.
Or a virus.
Everything that is in a human's body is coming out in that steam room.
In the nude.
In the nude.
God damn.
I know something we can get into. So the southeast Texas coast is very vulnerable to hurricanes, and Porter is probably, I mean, we all live around here, but Porter's got hammered.
The worst luck
by the hurricanes.
Of any of us.
Actually, the garage we're sitting in at one time had how many feet of water in it?
4.5 foot.
4.5 foot of water. So we got hit, what was it, a couple of years back by Harvey. And
then Imelda.
I was very fortunate. I'm currently not living in Hampshire, and I don't know how many inches we got of rain during Harvey.
42. During Harvey.
Okay.
Imelda was more.
I think Imelda was like 54.
Yes.
Roughly 54 inches.
There was at least 54 to 60 right here at my house.
Yeah, so Porter, he can't even get to his damn house. We're riding up to his house in mud boats trying to get all his shit out of here.
So
the best image I have of Porter's house during the hurricane is literally, I mean, it took me, 4 days to get here?
Yeah.
From my house, and I live 10 minutes down the road. It took me roughly 4 days
You weren't getting here without a boat.
Yeah. I could have possibly drove my bay boat over here, but I waited till I can get my truck at least halfway here. And I had to walk down the driveway. But when you pull up and there's the amount of stuff that was on your roof, I mean, there was golf clubs, shotguns, rifles, clothing. There was shit spread all over your roof, trying to dry it out, trying to help it out and
try to keep it dry.
Trying to keep it from being ruined.
Mildewing.
Dude,
it was insane.
My roof looked like the trashiest trailer park in Southeast Texas. Just shit was strung over 1,800 square foot of roof.
It was rough. Yeah, it was bad.
But not once, but twice, I believe Porter got flooded, wasn't it? Twice, Porter?
Yeah, we know it's twice. So the first time was I signed paperwork 11 days after, not even a full 2 weeks, 11 days. Got 3 foot of water in my house. Like, fuck yeah, that was awesome.
So note this. Porter's grandparents built this house.
In 78.
Yeah. However many years ago. And not one single time did water get in this house from a flood.
Nope. 11 days after
11 days after Porter May signs paperwork.
So
he has 3 foot of water in his house.
And Harvey wasn't bad. My house is weird. So like the front had like 3 foot, the back had like a foot. Then Imelda came, and I was, just to keep it simple, I was able to launch my 17-foot nitro with a 120 and drive it into my garage and then out of it and pick up all my shit.
Yeah.
Crazy times, man. I hope we never see another flood like that around here.
No. I mean, the water was almost up to the front of the bar that y'all are if you're watching the visual or the TikTok live, it was freaking high.
Yeah, it was up there.
And I think the thing I was mostly upset about was I probably had 500, 600 pounds of offshore fish, deer. Yeah.
We threw away 3 freezers the first time.
Do you remember at the...
Yes. I will never, ever forget.
We're at the junkyard or the dump or whatever, and they told you, clean out your freezers or fridges, don't let it... I was like, nah, dude, screw that. So we just kind of taped it up. Well, we're trying to get this damn freezer loaded out of the back of the truck. and the door opens, and the gross. It was like a. It was a pintail, maybe. It was a duck that we were supposed to be mounting, but it just rotted.
It fell.
It fell out and almost landed on someone, and they screamed like a bitch.
It was your. Who was that? I don't remember that guy's name.
I don't remember, but someone screamed like a bitch because a fucking just some gross ass duck just fell out.
Literally fell out. The door fell open, and it wasn't the only thing that fell out of that freezer.
Oh no, there's like 100 pounds of shrimp just rotting.
It was man. And you want to talk about knock you out smell wise, so murder you.
During that time of Harvey, I was currently still am living in Port Neches, so I was off work for several weeks with pay. So I went and stayed at Tanner's house for like 2 weeks, and it was just pretty much a big party because Tanner didn't flood. And we hung out, played pool, drank every night. During the day, we'd come help Porter and, just help anybody that needed to be gutted. You know, their homes needed to be gutted out. We just, had a good old time. But a bunch of people were really unfortunate during the time of Harvey, man. And
our area got slammed during Harvey.
And
for the first time, our area ever has been slammed by flooding. And
What pisses me off is those meteorologists like, it's a 500-year flood for Harvey.
Oh, yeah.
2 years later, it's like,
literally.
okay, that's a 1,500-year flood. It's like,
yeah,
nah, that's y'all full of shit now.
yeah,
I no longer rely on the local news for
Greg
for weather.
Boswick.
Boswick, his predictions are normally 100% the opposite.
Well, Boswick shafted me out of multiple weekends at the lake, so I just, nothing bad to say about Boswick, but, I kind of just – I check my app on my phone.
If you want to know what the weather's going to be like, just look up old Boswick, and whatever he says, the absolute opposite is going to happen. So you'll know. I mean, if it's supposed to be the shittiest possible weather out there, you might as well plan a fishing trip or a hunt.
Yeah, I just kind of go off of rumor. Rumor's my favorite, and like intuition. That's when it's like, it might be warm today. Go out.
Yeah, 42 degrees.
I hope we don't get any, but it's a yearly thing that everyone that lives in Southeast Texas has to worry about is a hurricane, because everyone around here is prone to flooding, wind damage, everyone on the coast, and it sucks, but we'll never leave. You see people year after year rebuilding their homes after hurricanes, but we rebuild. We have a very strong community, and everyone kind of comes together during that time, and we'll never leave.
No, I definitely love our community. They helped out a lot. Even when I was, in my predicament, there's people with worse predicaments like, man, if you need help, I'm like, no, bro, you got 9 foot in your house. Yeah. You definitely need some help.
I will tell you this. After Harvey, we went out by the bayou, or those homes on the bayou, dude. I mean, water up to the roof, trucks completely submerged underwater.
Dude, remember we took that trip to Aaron George, his house? Dude, we were riding down Boondocks Road, and I mean, it was 9 foot of water on top of that road.
We were riding a bass boat down the middle of the road.
A bass boat straight down the middle of the road. I guarantee you it was every bit of 8-9 foot.
Yeah.
I mean, we're looking at under the water. You're looking at trucks, several inches underwater. I mean, it was, and this was 2 days after the flood.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like that first day it got worse.
That water had nowhere to go.
Yeah, it had nowhere to go. It's like it literally got worse, and just kept getting higher. And before we even had a chance to do anything, and which I'm not going to get into details of that day because that was a very, very rough day,
very
for all
traumatic.
of us.
I will say though, this was one of the scariest. But I'm laughing because I was like, we're gonna die. So my mom and them were walking back during Imelda to the house, and they're walking with the dogs, and it's already waist deep water. And they're like, as soon as they walk through my door, they're like, are you dry? I'm like, yeah, no, I'm still dry. They walk in, and I was like, we got to go, like, now. So each one of us, because we have like 6 dogs, we're walking through like Forrest Gump, holding a dog like a gun above us, all the way back to the Stokes' house, just wading through chest deep water. I'm like, and it's just lightning skipping off the water. It's like,
the Stokes, did they flood?
No, they're built up on a damn.
I know they're high, but I wasn't sure if they floated or not. I couldn't remember.
The ground is higher than my roof back there.
Honestly, if you're going to live in our area, you have to build up. I mean, if you're building a new home, you have to build up.
Either build a beach cabin or you got to lay a pad.
Or do what Mitch
several
does.
feet high.
Mitch is rich over here. He put like 38 loads of dirt down.
Not rich at all, but I made sure I was high enough so I didn't have to worry about flooding. And hopefully, if I flood, we're all screwed.
Oh, yeah. If you flood, then I've got 3-4 foot of water in my house.
Yeah.
Well, if you have 3-4 foot water,
Porter's completely submerged.
I need an ark. I'll need an ark. But yeah, man, it's getting hot. We had to wait a little bit later to do this because earlier Tanner was sweating his ass off while we're just standing out here.
I'm drenched already. It didn't matter. I'm soaking ass wet.
It's about time though to go to the river, go do a little floating, which a lot of people think that's weird. Anybody out of state, they think it's crazy that we like just go and for fun float down water.
That is a pretty yearly event, annual event, at least once or twice.
I love it
for each one of us.
So what you do is get 1,000 rednecks or just normal people, I guess from Texas, anyone really from Texas. Give them a black hot ass tube that will melt your skin, and put them in a cold ass water that's called Frio, and float them for 5 hours.
Or Guadalupe.
Yeah.
Guadalupe also.
I love going up and floating the river. I get a group of your friends up there. So a lot of really good stories from floating the river. Basically, just a big river up in Texas. You got the Guadalupe, the Frio. There's several. But you get a good group of friends and go up there, and they have, honestly, my favorite float's the horseshoe float on the Guadalupe. It's,
fast.
Yeah.
What's
that, a 2-hour float?
About a 2-hour float, but you can go up to probably 5-hour plus.
I've floated. Yeah, well, yeah. 7 hours.
Basically, you get a bunch of people together, and it's a great time. You throw a big bag of wine around, slap the bag, nurse on some wine.
Oh, yeah.
Most people, someone's got music, in the group, playing music,
most of the time
drinking, having a good time.
Yeah, what I do not know, I'm going to get some heat for this, but I went with Ryan Johnson and them last year or 2 years ago, and they have a speaker. It has like 6 8-inch like Bose speakers on it, a sub, and it's called like the father-in-law or something like that, or the friend stealer or whatever. And that thing was, if we didn't have 80 people tied to us, I would be lying straight up. They just all connected like a giant just chain.
Well, the best one I remember is when me and we both brought our exo gears and tied them together.
Oh yeah,
we bought an extra tube specifically for our speakers and tied them together and had them facing both opposite directions. And
that was when
we had the entire river tied to us. We were the party.
The funniest thing we've ever done was for my older brother's bachelor party. My cousin built a cooler, and it dispensed liquid out of it. He had a tube coming out of it with a bilge pump installed in it, and he filled it up with Captain Morgan and Coke, and he cut up limes and put them in there. And you turn that sucker on. I don't know what kind of pump he had in there, but that thing shot out so fast you could dispense it to people across. I mean, not across the river, but a good distance away. And it had its own tube. He was turning it on and just flushing it, man.
Oh,
people were just
you'd drive by a bunch of girls on the side. It's like, you want some liquor? They're like, yeah, and he'd hit it. And this thing's like 60 gallons a minute, like through a half-inch hose. He would squirt it like 15 feet and just get them Coke, and Coke stickier than shit. So they're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was pretty funny. I don't know what he had in there, just a little bilge pump, but it was pretty cool. It just dispensed liquor out of it.
That was such a fun time. Your brother's bachelor party was fun. That one time, me and you haven't been in a long time, Tanner. Probably since
man, I couldn't tell you the last time I've been to the river. It's been, I think, honestly, no shit, I'm pretty sure it's been since Joe's bachelor party.
Oh yeah.
Remember when me and Joe went on that extra float and left everybody?
Yeah, we got done with the float. We did like 5 hours, and we're like, all right. And then we're like, where's Joe and Tanner? They had just gone.
So
left.
when we pulled the tubes out of the river, it was me and Joe, and we didn't have anything. We had our one cooler, and we didn't even have a speaker. So we pulled out and was walking. We got way up above the bridge and everything else, and we were looking down at all y'all jackasses, and everybody was drunk and screwing around, and we stood there for like 20 minutes, and I tell you what, Joe literally himself was like, dude, let's go float again. And it was his bachelor party, so what am I going to say?
You can't
what
say
am I going
no.
to say? No? Yeah, so we took off, and we got on the bus and drove around and just went on our own float and left everybody.
We waited hours.
We get back, and people are scattered around the freaking city looking for me and Joe because we didn't even have phones. We didn't have nothing.
You hear a lot of stories about Joe, and old Joe, man, he's kind of a mysterious character, and we hope to have him as a guest. Not even a guest. He'd pretty much be the host if we have him on. But what a good dude old Joe is. Been a great friend to me and to all of us, and we love old Joe.
Joe's a good fella, man.
An original dragon.
He is the original dragon. Too bad he just loves pooching.
He loves to pooch.
Joe is a pooch master, and when we say pooch, that's kind of the term we use when someone kind of
just doesn't show up,
backs out or doesn't show up. Oh, he pooched,
Like he'll tell you 100% I'll be there, and literally he does never shows.
So the belt of the pooch used to be passed on. I pooched quite a bit a while back. Tanner's had his share of pooching.
Mitchell is definitely the king pooch
I'm no
of
longer the
all
king.
time.
Okay, well,
Used to. I'm not saying now.
No,
I'm just
used
saying
to.
over the time.
the belt changes.
You probably held the belt the longest.
Okay, maybe I've held the belt the longest, but I no longer hold it. I believe Joe is now in ownership of the pooch belt. Would you agree?
I would definitely
I'm
agree.
inclined to agree to that.
100% agree.
You hear that, Joe? If you watch this, you're holding the belt.
I hope he's watching TikTok live.
Joe doesn't have TikTok. He'll randomly, like every 3 years, he'll look at his Facebook. That's why a while back he went on a spree liking photos from 2009. And people
and that started so much shit
yeah.
between all of us and all the Anahuac guys. Good
Well, yeah.
Lord.
He only liked photos of us and our ex-women.
Yeah, that was, from 20 years ago.
Old Joe.
Yeah, he'll get the best of you.
But yeah, we have a tournament coming up this weekend. Bass tournament.
Yeah, potential.
But I'm fishing.
Yeah, I don't know yet because I was literally told like moments ago before we started this.
I'm going to try to fish it, unfortunately, with this man sitting next to me, Tanner, on Rayburn, Sam Rayburn Lake. One of our good friends is hosting a smaller tournament.
Yeah, I think it's only like probably 30 teams. Not that big.
That's plenty.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a company tournament. I think you just get like if you win, you get to choose a prize, Yeti or something like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind fishing Rayburn. I haven't fished it probably in about a year or two, but
I just know me and Rance are going to kick everybody's ass.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you and Rance ain't going to catch a fish.
There's a good
agree.
chance.
Because you're facing me and Mitchell. And you know how Mitchell is. Mitchell is pretty much the best bass fisherman out there.
Yeah.
He's got to carry Joe every year. So, Mitchell, I might even not even throw my rod in the water.
you probably won't have to. I'll
I might
catch them
not
all
have
for
to. I'll just throw a spoon behind the boat and just troll while Mitch slaughters fish all day.
I'll catch us a couple dinks.
You laugh about that, but my wife, every time we go fishing, she just fishes out of the back, just bumping it. And I'll just hear.
Yeah, Delaney's fish is bigger than my PR.
Yeah, I think mine too.
Yeah.
Both
And
of
she
us.
thought nothing of it.
Well, yeah, because she redfish. She's like, oh, redfish are so much bigger than bass. It's like, well, no shit.
Yeah.
But hey, whatever.
I'm ready to go tear up. And I know Tanner, after last weekend, for sure, Tanner's not going to be the one to bring me to do it. But I'm ready to go tear up some trout and some reds. I might have to holler at somebody else.
Call
'cause
Doug.
Like I said,
Doug
Tanner
will do it for you.
definitely ain't going to be the
Actually,
one to do it.
Let's call Warhola. Warhola will put us on some reds.
I need to get into some
I
reds.
think
and some
Warhola
trout.
can put us on some reds about 180 miles out.
Yeah. Warhola will put you on anything, really. I mean, hell, he bought a bass boat the other day. Doesn't even bass fish. Lucky bastard.
Yeah.
But Yep. So we have that planned this week. This is our one day off, so we decided to do this podcast, being shift work, and just to reiterate, most people that watch most of our stuff, watch our videos, they think this is what we do full time. It's not, unfortunately. So
maybe one day.
I would say at this point, this is something we do for fun.
Yes.
I mean,
this is kind of a hobby for us.
a hobby, and
Literally, I mean, it is a hobby.
yeah, that's pretty much
That's what
it
we
is.
do. I mean, we just, besides screwing off, drinking beer and bourbon, or hunting and fishing, this is kind of what we do.
Yep. We
Even in times after work, we got work the next day.
Yeah, just go and just mess around.
Yep.
I'm telling you, it's getting close to those Bayou days. It's really close to, well, I mean, it's been jug lining time, but I like just going out there and setting out 100 jugs and just drinking beer all day. Even if I don't catch nothing, it's like, well, I'm going to catch a buzz.
Yep.
Get really drunk.
I remember Porter a while back. He was running jugs in the bayou, and I received a picture. I don't know who he was running jugs with, but he sent me this picture of this giant gar strung up from a tree. It was like almost a 6 foot gar. Was it 6 foot?
Yeah, it was easily 6 foot.
6 foot gar. And I was like, damn, man, you caught that on a jug line? He was like, no, we actually ran over it in the boat and then turned around and went and grabbed
No, that
it.
was with the Delaney. So me and my wife were just hauling ass. We're probably going about 50 down North Fork.
Which is not a bayou. You should be going 50 down.
No, there's refrigerators that float down it.
It's like 20 foot wide. I mean,
We're hauling ass.
trees all the way across.
We're hauling ass. And I just smashed something. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I just destroyed my lower unit. Like shut off my motor, everything, crank it back up. It actually cranked up, and I was like, Jesus Christ, what did I hit? I look back, and I just see bellows of blood just floating around. I was like, I killed somebody. And then Delaney's like, look, it was a 6 foot 2, 145 pound gar.
Big old gar fish.
Well, it's the slight, like it filleted it. So I was like, I get excited about anything like that. So I grab my rod and reel, hook into it, and I start just fighting it. I'm like, run the trolling motor for me. I got it in the boat, strapped it up. She would not get close to it. She just sat on the very front. And
Do you blame her?
Yeah, no, because that son of a bitch hit me in the back of the head. I almost knocked my ass
I'm
out.
saying the things are some nasty bastards.
Porter's one of those guys, man, when we were in high school, we'd hit like a squirrel on the road, and he would stop the truck, and he'd be like, oh, we're going to get that squirrel. And he would reverse the truck, go get the squirrel. This happened. And we went to my front driveway, and he cleaned that squirrel in the front driveway.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
No, there ain't
It's-
nothing wrong
yeah,
with
I mean,
it.
it died that day.
Oh, dude,
Porter salvages his kills for sure.
my favorite. I love rice season. If you go down 65, the back road from Winnie to Anahuac, all the rice jumps out of that truck. They'll be dove like crazy. And if you're going about 110, they cannot get out of the way. Like my record's like 18, and I just
Turn around and go get him.
I just stop.
Oh, they're
go.
probably all jammed in the grill.
Oh, dude, you just
Of that Yoda.
this pluck them, man.
Old Reba.
Dude, Reba.
Back in the day, old Reba, yeah.
People, we all joke about my truck, but I used to have a little Tacoma that I would pull a 22-foot champion with. One time I went and scrap metaled from a buddy of mine from Handcomer and did 4,600 pounds of metal.
Behind that Tacoma.
And it was a bumper pull too, so I was just,
Single cab 4-cylinder, the lowest grade Tacoma you could possibly
yep,
own.
and I pulled
And
all kinds of
this
shit.
bitch-
She was a little workhorse, though,
She
man.
was a workhorse.
Dude, one time I brought, like, it was an 18-foot boxed-in trailer. I carried it to work and just had coolers out the ass. And one of my coworkers was like, dude, what is in there? What's in there? I would not tell him. I drove it all the way up to Concan and just running like 5,000 RPMs the whole way.
Yeah.
We sat there in the little bit of time and we're just talking bullshitting and just talking about old times, what we can talk about. And lately, the last 2 clips that we posted on Instagram that went real viral, I guess you can call it viral, million views. We're talking about me getting bit by the snake. It's like, well, I got another close to near, I guess, death experience I could talk about. So then all the doctors on TikTok can be pissed off again.
Yeah.
But so it was like senior year of high school, summertime, since we've been on the topic the whole time about summer and, you know, what we're going to do. We're at Old Classy Crystal, which if people don't know, if you're east of the Mississippi or if you're on the West Coast, you got real nice blue water. We got dirty bullshit Gulf of Mexico.
Shit water.
We got stuff that will literally eat the skin off your body. Some kind of
Flesh-eating bacteria lurks in our waters.
Yes.
So I'm on this beach with our fourth that's not here, Joe. And
As usual.
per usual, Joe's not here. And there was a group of guys there, and I used to be decently quick back in the day, and everybody's like, oh, man, let's go on the beach, let's race. And I'm wearing a blue Speedo. And if anyone is listening to this, that is Mitchell cracking a Michelob Ultra. And he is about to shotgun it. And he is drinking it. So anyway, we go and race, and we're in the middle of running. I'm in a blue and gold Speedo, wearing like a cowboy hat, looking like a real jackass. Running, and just halfway through, I just feel something weird, a weird sensation. I was like, oh no, I got to stop. I just fell, like I got shot by a 50 cal, just folded. I was like, oh, my foot. I looked down. I have the head of a rotted corpse of a hardhead catfish, the fin sticking through my foot, just perfectly just right through my foot. And I was
So
like,
you stepped on that fish, and its defense mechanism, its fin jabbed all the way through your foot.
yes. It was a rod, just the head too. No body, just the head. I'm talking like flies were around it, kind of shit. Well, the fin goes through my foot. You can see the fin at the top of my foot. Not much, but just poking like the skin out. And I was like, oh no. So it was me, Joe, and then a buddy of ours, Hunter Bergeron. At the time, and still to this day, he goes by Uncle Bo because he's a big, burly bastard. He just comes and picks me up. He's like 300 pounds, 6 foot, 5, 6, big dude, just picks me up, sets me on the bed of the truck, and he's like, we got to get that thing out. He goes on the count of 3. 1, and then just rips it out. I wanted to cry, but there was women around, so I didn't. And dudes. I'd rather cry in front of a woman in front of a bunch of dudes. Rips it out, and then just pulls out a bottle of Everclear and pours it all over my foot. I guess I thought that would, decontaminate it. Days go on. I've been, I didn't go get it treated, didn't put no Neosporin.
Things got to be prone to infection.
Yeah, well, I would say so, since it was at Crystal Beach, Classy Crystal, and a rotted corpse of a catfish.
Crystal Beach is probably one of the cleanest beaches in Texas.
Okay,
Yeah.
no. So it's like day 5, and I just get to the point where I can't put any weight on it. And I guess fast forward a little bit, or reverse, my grandmother told me, she's like, oh, there's an old home remedy. Put this black salve on it. It was just in this goop bottle from like 1960 something.
What is salve?
It was like a little liquid that turned into almost like a rubbery consistency. Well, I just kept rubbing it on my foot thinking, oh, this is what's going to do it.
Where do you purchase that salve from? You get it at your local pharmacy or what?
I doubt you can even buy that anymore. You might, but I doubt it. It was just like monkey's blood back in the day. But so I got this black salve, kept putting it on. It's like day 5. I was like, I got to go to the doctor. This shit I can't walk on it. I go in, and they just automatically, they're like, so, sir, what's wrong? I'm like, well, I stepped on a catfish a few days ago, and it really hurts. They're like, well, let me see your foot. I pull it out, and on the bottom of my foot was turning green, purple, blue. It looked like melted Skittles on the bottom of my foot. Just started infecting and festering. So they're like, oh, my God. So they go ahead and start injecting me with some shit. I don't know what it was. It was thick, and it made my ass cheek just cramp up. And they're like, sir, if you would have gone another 24 to 48 hours, we probably would have had to cut off your leg. Like, what? They're like, you're on like the verge of blood poisoning. You should have came out. They had to do like x-rays because like the needles could have been stuck in my foot.
So I don't know a lot about hard heads, but I know if you get their whatever you call that fin that comes up, penetrates your
that
skin. That dorsal fin penetrates your skin. That's not a good situation.
No.
I've had my fair share of stabs. Not that bad. Like I still got my scar, whichever hand it was, right here. Went straight into the hand, about halfway. You know, I was 10. You know, and I still got the scar from that. You know, that was a very, very painful moment. I mean, the things ain't no joke. I mean, I don't care who you are. You get stabbed by even just the slightest little abrasion by one of those fins still burns like hell.
Here's a topic. What's the worst, and I can tell you mine, what's the worst pain you have ever received from anything?
Tanner, I believe you can go first on this one.
You must know what you're talking about compared to me because I don't know.
I remember when your appendix ruptured, and that wasn't good.
Oh, okay. Oh, my Lord.
That probably would be number one.
Yeah. I forget about the appendix because it was actual something that I didn't have control of. Normally injuries, my injuries at least, are because I'm a dumbass. But no, the appendix, I didn't have no choice. That just happened. So my family, we have a beach cabin in Louisiana. Back to our Texas and Louisiana thing. No, I'm from Texas. We live in Texas. We party and drink in Texas. We hunt and fish in Texas. But I do have a beach cabin, family owned. It's not mine personally, in Louisiana. But anyway, we were down there. Actually, you know what? I don't even think we own the. Anyway, we had property in Louisiana at the time, and so I was convinced to go down there and spend a weekend. And I don't think I made it 24 hours roughly before I was in the hospital. That was by far the most painful thing I've ever gone through. It was rough. And what's sad is it didn't even rupture. I know people that their appendix ruptured and they're just like, oh yeah,
Joe,
it sucked.
Just
it wasn't that bad.
or what?
Mine was inflamed and like on the verge of rupturing for like 2 days.
Right.
So it was like I was at that point. I was at that very point for a very long time. It just never actually ruptured.
Good. You need your appendix. That's like one of the most important body parts, I heard.
Exactly. It's pretty important. And
tell the doctors that on TikTok.
Yeah. So, I mean, they removed it, and I went through my surgery, and I came out of it like a peach. It was perfect. And
when you talk about what's the most pain you've ever been in, the most painful thing, I really haven't. Like I've gotten in fights and stuff, and things of that nature. But when I'll tell you what I really hate, and it's not that it's painful, it's when I like cut myself. And I'll tell you the worst thing is when you cut yourself and it's cold outside. One time I was gutting this hog with a buddy of mine, and we were in South Texas, and we were getting down on this pig, man, and I had this big old sharp knife. Someone was letting me use this sharp knife, and I laid my hand open with that knife. I don't remember. It was like half my finger in my hand, and I laid it open pretty good. And dude,
you called me like moments
when
after
you
that.
cut yourself. I mean, especially cleaning an animal. I mean, I had a couple. We were drinking that day, and it was the rear joint of that hog, the hind quarter of that hog. We were just cleaning out a big old pig. I laid my hand open, and dude, for me, there's nothing worse than cutting yourself. And then a combination of that when it's cold. A girl there was menstruating, and she handed me one. She was menstruating at the time, luckily, and she had a big old box of those. I don't know if they were pads or tampons or whatever. She was like, "Here, put this on there." She gave me that tampon, and I had tape, and I wrapped that tampon around my hand, And I was like, thank God you're here. You know,
Christ.
Jesus,
Yeah,
that's
I've cut myself many
That's
times.
a good
and
one right there.
Wow. I hate it, man. I hate cutting myself.
Pretty sure I've relived that story multiple times. I've never heard that section of that.
yeah,
story.
that is great.
Yeah, she had one, and I'll tell you what, that son of a bitch absorbs some blood too. They work. I'll give them that. They
Well-
do what they're designed to do.
Jesus, I have. Well, my wife made me put one in my nose once, and it did work. But I think the most. I don't even know how to back that up, but it was offshore fishing with my buddy Brandon last year. We were doing the Texas Coast Wahoo tournament, and we had like 6 or 7 lines out. We're just reeling them up because we ended up hooking up onto 1 or 2, however it was. And I'm reeling line up, and I just see something dangling from the line. So I just grab it, and I go to flick it off, and it wraps around my hand like 3 times. It was a damn man-o-war tentacle.
Oh my Lord.
It wrapped around my hand, and then I couldn't get it off. So I was sitting there trying to scrape it off with both my hands because at first I didn't know. I was like, it looked like snot. If you ever seen a jellyfish tentacle, that thing, like I got it off, and at first it just felt like you stuck your hand in like a pile of ants. I was like, man, that burns. And then it felt like I just set it in between a vise and let you just hammer my hand. It just started throbbing for hours.
Once you got it off, the pain just increased.
Oh, dude, it increased it was like almost like a 5-hour process.
So what is a man-o-war? Is that just a big-ass jellyfish? Because you always hear people, get out of
It's
the water,
a
there's a
deadly
man-o-war.
jellyfish. It's
Yeah,
one
it's
of
a
the most deadly jellyfish on the planet. I mean,
I'm not a scientist, not an
Yeah, me
biologist,
neither.
but it's like I would say it's probably in the top 2, like kills more people than anybody else. Like usually you go into anaphylactic shock.
and I think it's mostly because they're so long. You know, they wrap you up, and you can't get away from them.
Yeah, they have like a poison.
Yeah.
Well, that thing, it had me from like almost my wrist down to my fingers, and it was just agonizing pain for 4.5, 5 hours. Like no amount of alcohol would cure it. It was just
Burning.
burning. Like it felt like it broke my bone. And I broke my arm. I've had surgery. Got my arm put back in place. That right there, that man-o-war. And they're like, they float on top of the water, and they have like 7 foot, like,
Yeah,
and what do you call them? Antennas maybe, or
tentacles,
tentacles? Well, yeah, Squidward tentacles.
Antennas.
Antennas.
tennis.
And
We'll call them antennas.
we'll call them antennas now. But that by far was probably the most painful thing. I've been stung on the face by a jellyfish, and when I was like 12, and my stepdad was like, "Well, you got to pee on your face." Like that ain't happening, bro.
So there was no treatment for that when you got stung by that man-o-war? No one urined on your hand or nothing?
No,
I wonder what, like, you always hear, like, if you get stung by a jellyfish for someone to piss on you, like,
Dude.
it helps. But I highly doubt that really helps.
dude.
They say it helps. I mean,
No, but I've been stung multiple times, like on my legs.
yeah, I've had my fair share. Nothing, not by a man-o-war.
No, but I peed on myself. I peed on my kneecap one time. I got stung. I felt no difference.
Yeah.
So, not saying it doesn't work for some people. It did not work for me.
Yeah,
But what was funny was I was sitting there and I did that, and nobody saw it. So I was just sitting there like that. Well, I say no one saw it. Brandon was up controlling the boat.
Yeah.
And he just turns around, and he's looking at me and just smiles and says, "I know that fucking hurt."
Yeah. I bet it did.
He was like, "That was a man-o-war." I was like, "That hurts," and it kept hurting and kept hurting. Made me like sick to my stomach. Yeah, we just got a cell. I'm turning that off. But-
so I want to go back, and I want to replace my story with one of my most painful, and I'm pretty sure the only person that dealt with this was Mitchell. So one year it was New Year's. I blew my hand off with a artillery shell. I don't know if any of y'all remember that.
Okay. You didn't blow your hand
I didn't
off.
blow it
You
off.
still have
Obviously, I still have my hands. I have hands, but I basically blew my hand off with a full-blown, legit, full-size artillery shell on pure accident. We had New Year's, and all kinds of family was staying at the time, and we blew fireworks for, who knows how long.
few minutes probably.
Yeah, probably just a few minutes. But anyway, so I woke up. I was one of the first ones up in the morning, and I woke up. I started cleaning up, and I made a fire, and I was just cleaning up fireworks. I mean, there's fireworks everywhere. I mean, they were scattered all over the freaking property. And whatever fireworks that were still not lit off, I would just throw them in the fire, no matter what they were, and just light them off, and they'd blow up. No big deal, no problem. Well, I found this box. It was knocked over. There was 6 artillery shells, and instead of throwing them in the fire, I would light them and just throw them a few feet away, let them blow up, get it over with.
Which you're supposed to put them in the tube. And
exactly.
The artulary shells you put in the tube, and
they
supposed to launch them up
100 feet in the air and blow up. But
Not
anyway, I was
to.
lighting them and just throwing them in the yard and letting them blow up, getting them out of the way because, it's first thing in the morning. Everybody's still asleep. I'm just trying to get rid of the shit. Who cares? So I pick up this artillery shell. No big deal, just like every other one. I light it with some bitch has a foot-long fuse, and it explodes before I could even close my eyes. And it was pretty rough. It destroyed my entire hand. I couldn't open my fingers. It singed all my skin. Anyway, it was pretty rough. Burned. I don't know what kind of degree burns were on my hand.
Second.
Whatever.
Oh,
yeah, probably second. But anyway, whatever. So this is New Year's. So obviously we're in the middle of duck season, and I'm not going to quit duck hunting. And me and Mitchell make our way one weekend to Pond 3 of, I'm not going to say where, probably most likely Central, because that's where we slaughter all our ducks.
Yeah, go hunt Central Unit.
But anyway, we go to this position, and I'm talking the coldest morning of any year we've had, where the ponds were frozen over that morning, and I'm driving. I'm going through the pond, and there's literally an inch of water on every pond, and we're on top of ice. But anyway, so we're doing this hunt, and it's so cold and so dry. I have to use my hand. I do not have a choice to use my hand, and I'm trying to move my fingers, and I'm just slicing. The skin is just cracking and breaking. And do you remember how much blood?
I remember your hand was. It looked mangled, man. Your hand was.
It was nasty.
Was destroyed.
I think the only thing that really helped, it was so cold. I couldn't really feel it. But it was just every piece of skin was just shattered and just gushing blood. And I had Tex at the time, I believe, and at least he was picking up our ducks. And but anyway, yeah, I wanted that to replace that with my painful, because that was a rough.
Yeah, and it was self-inflicted.
It was self-inflicted for sure. That was definitely on my own fault. But
I did just so we've been talking about on this podcast doing Q&As from like our TikTok live while we're doing this, recording. And I actually did just get a message saying there was somebody was asking what's the best way to prepare duck, which I thought was a pretty fitting question. I was going to ask you guys how y'all thought.
Okay, I can say my way, and other people may be different. So duck, there's a lot of people that don't eat duck. A lot of people think they're really gamey, and they are, but if you prepare them properly, they can be very good. And I've always believed in everything that I hunt, I like to eat. Everything that I harvest, I like to, it's just the right thing to do. And, obviously you want it to taste good. I don't want to hunt something and not eat it, but I want to make it taste good at the same time. So if I'm going to cook a duck, probably the best way and the most popular way is you clean them out, you breast them, any way you'd like. I like to put a cut down the breastbone and slice each breast out and clean them that way. Make sure to get as much meat as possible. And most of the time I'll let them sometimes soak in a marinade. You can prepare a marinade. usually with me, Italian dressing is good. There's all different types of marinades you can look up, but Italian dressing is actually pretty good to marinate ducks in. And then season them up, wrap them in bacon and jalapeno, throw them on the grill, man. It's hard to beat that. And there's other ways to cook them, but it's hard to beat a bacon wrap jalapeno duck. And for people that really don't eat waterfowl and that are just like coming over to hang out, like they'll eat that. That's a good way to cook a duck.
Oh, definitely. That's one of the easier, definitely most flavorful, best ways to do it. Porter, you want to go?
Yeah, well, I mean,
you can go ahead and go.
My favorite way, which I don't do it often, but me personally, and down here in Texas, we shoot mostly teal, especially during teal season. You take your teal, you defeather them, you pluck them all the way down. You know, you cut the feet, head, wings off. Just have the breast or the whole body, breast, back, all that, and smoke it like in a pellet smoker, and it will get so crispy. And then like halfway through, you then shove some.
That pellet smoker you got, though, it don't hold temp very well, does it?
Oh, no, that doesn't. Not at all. But you take that and you'll like put your vegetables and like butter and shit like that in there. And that, like, just the whole teal is fantastic.
Yeah. What's your favorite way, Tanner?
So I've got multiple different ways I cook.
They asked for one.
I'm going for one. The most I do is duck, rice, and gravy, but that is not my favorite way. I cook duck, rice, and gravy very regular. My favorite way, and it's just a little bit more work, is man, you flatten them out. You take a meat tenderizer, you flatten the breasts out, and you fry them just like backstrap, and you serve them on it could be mashed potatoes and gravy, whatever, rice and gravy, fried duck breast with white country gravy is probably one of the hardest ways. That's
you throw them in a gumbo
fantastic. Too. Oh, I could cook a freaking hell of a duck gumbo, but most people don't like it. It brings the gamey flavor out. I don't give a damn how much you marinate it. You cook a duck gumbo, it brings out that gamey flavor, and right. I don't care. People do not like that gamey. Most people do not like that gamey flavor, and I get away from making duck gumbo because of that.
I love it.
I mean, when you guys are coming over, I'll definitely do it, and I still do it every now and again. But
how was that dinner tonight, Tanner?
Oh wow! I tell you what, one of the hardest dinners out there is a nice, fresh, pan-seared, raw tuna fillet.
Well, I guess it would be seared, not raw, but...
Yeah, it's seared. That's what I said. No. Pan-seared, raw. It's basically raw. It's just pan-seared, just a very, very thin layer of cooked tuna.
Yeah, tonight's dinner, we had tuna over rice.
I'll eat offshore fish any day of the week compared to a freaking duck.
Oh, yeah. I mean, tuna... wahoo, swordfish, tilefish,
red snapper. One of the most common. You can catch 1,000 in a day, but yet we're only allowed two, which is just pathetic.
We've been talking about having a game warden on here and just asking them.
We're going to have a game warden.
You could go 30 miles out and slaughter red snapper every now. Not saying every time, every now and again, and slaughter red snapper. Anywhere from 30 miles to 200 miles on rock, anything, rigs, whatever you want, and you will absolutely slaughter the red snapper, but you could keep two a person.
Yeah, that'd definitely be an interesting topic to ask a game warden. Why can we only keep, how many is it?
Two.
You can keep two red snapper.
You catch more red snapper offshore than you will catch any fish.
Is it a population? Guaranteed. Is it a population thing?
I think it's just bullshit.
I think it's bullshit.
I agree. I think it is bullshit.
But it's just like
it's the most popular fish to catch for some reason. I don't understand that. Whatever. I think it's because there's so many you could catch. So many. I think that's why they're the popular fish. So they cut it back.
I'm actually going to get a. we're going to have a game warden on here.
Yeah, we will
100%, because there's many questions that I want to ask the game warden, because a lot of people feel the same way about a lot of the different laws that we have down here, and we're not going to agree on a bunch of things, and we will agree on some, but it'll definitely be an interesting segment.
Well, and at least if we were explained their thought process, I'll accept it.
Yeah,
but
I
you just tell me
hear an explanation.
Yeah, if you're just going to tell me I can only catch 2 red
Because you're
snapper.
you're not gonna.
Nah, bro.
You can't read it online.
You can only use a 9-inch prop. You can only shoot 6 birds. Like, tell me all the like.
I'd like to see the prop explanation. Just my
100%. That's my honestly.
If I'm sitting in a freaking field full of grass and I was to run through that freaking field with a 12-inch prop doing 1,200 RPMs or a 9-inch prop doing 3,800 RPMs, how much more brush am I going to tear up with what? Which one? Please tell me.
I want to know what you're running that's going 12,000
no,
RPM.
No, I said 1,200.
Oh,
no, I'm throwing numbers. I'm not. That's not 100%.
Well, it's like the guest we had on our first podcast. He said it's federal overreach bullshit, yes. And I agree with that. I mean, that's all it's is.
Stuff that they can control that we can't.
Which we're grateful that we're able to, all the land we're able to hunt publicly. Yes. We're very grateful for that. But
yes, on
that particular rule, I want to like why.
And we're not hating on game wardens. We're not hating. Just curious on some of the rules. And that's why we – and if we have any kind of –
we definitely respect – you know how many times game wardens have
let us off with the –
cut us slack.
Not just let us off, cut us slack, but they help us out during the season, helping taking out the jackasses that literally started the year of and never read a single rule. I have no absolute clue what they're doing.
No, I definitely have the utmost respect.
Oh, for sure. But I mean, when you go out there and you run into a game warden, you know when they know who they're talking to.
Well, you just know,
what I'm saying?
You know when you've messed up.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, they run into a hunter and they start talking to a hunter that has been hunting for 20 years. Compared to a hunter that has literally started hunting the day of, basically, and they know the difference. And these us, I mean, they cut us slack compared to these guys that say we're breaking a rule. They're going to cut us slack over some guy that's.
Well, if we're breaking a rule, it's not intentional.
It's not intentional. It's a legit screw up.
There's been times where. You know, no big rules by any means.
Trust me, we've had our fair share of screw ups, and we've learned over the years that we don't do that shit no more. I mean, we try to play by the rules, and if we do screw up, it's on us. I mean, we don't blame it on nobody. I mean, we definitely take our responsibility for ourselves, and but where I'm getting at is these local game wardens, you know, they know if they're talking to
someone who's new versus someone who's been hunting for
old,
years.
Yes, and you see that, and it's, you know, trust me. I mean, being a hunter, being out in the marsh hunting with somebody that's hunted for years or hunting with somebody that's never done it before.
You definitely do your research if you're just getting into hunting. Definitely want to do your research and learn all the local laws and regulations, but we definitely respect all of our game wardens.
Yep. Well, shit, I guess that'll be the end of this episode. So, I mean, we appreciate everybody following us, listening. We've had a lot of good feedback, and I hate to be the guy that says this, but I mean, the more people that subscribe, we can spread the word, and we're just here for a good time. So